Hello students, a very good morning. So students, I think your term examinations that was over already and you have done a very good job in that one. So I just hope that and I wish a good result for you also. So today let's start now our new session, new term and the revision on new term first because all the syllabus we have covered already. So let's start the revisions from today. And the first chapter in term 1 that we have, it is now electromagnetic waves. Later, ray optics, then wave optics, dual nature of radiation and matter, atoms and nuclei, and semiconductor devices. So this is all the syllabus of our term 2 examination. So we will start our revision and as well as practice from this class. So let's start our just class today with the revision on electromagnetic wave. So as up to now we have discussed electricity and magnetism in term 1, like where we can utilize the electricity in as AC, as DC, and up to the alternating current that we have studied now. But individually we have studied electricity and magnetism. Electromagnetism, this branch of physics that deals with the combined effect of electricity and magnetism, where we will study the electric and magnetic field combinedly. The first scientist that started to work on that was Maxwell. So or before that Hertz also has done a lot of good job. Also Marconi and a lot of scientists actually have worked here, because in nature whatever we are discovering, that is discovered using 7 waves that are called electromagnetic waves. So that electromagnetic waves, as they have very special properties, so one by one let's revise that. So before that one, as electromagnetic wave is what? The wave in which electric and magnetic field both components are present, and these both components are oscillating perpendicular to each other, and they are mutually perpendicular to the direction of propagation. Means here electric and magnetic field both will be each other, and also we know that according to state or law, according to Ampere's theorem, later we have studied Faraday law. So we have discussed and we have studied that electricity can produce magnetism, magnetism can produce electricity. Means both are dependent on each other. Means one of the, if anyone start to just oscillate, then that can change any other. Like according to Faraday concept, whenever there is change in flux associated with any of the coil, means there is change in the magnetic field, and that time there will be the production of electricity. Means we can say now the magnetic field that is varying, that is oscillating. So oscillating magnetic field produces electricity. But here up to now we haven't discussed one thing, that is oscillating electric field that can produce magnetic effect or not. Because if you will go to the concept of Biot-Savart law, Oersted law, as well as Ampere's law, that were all for the steady current. Means if somewhere steady current is flowing, I current is flowing, then what will be the value of magnetic field? We have discussed that one, but we haven't discussed when that current will start to change with time, then what will be the effect. So that effect was later discovered by Maxwell. So Maxwell has done a very remarkable job. He tells that magnetic field, magnetism effect can be produced not only by the steady current as well as by the varying current. So whenever there will be the oscillating magnetic field, that will produce electric field, and oscillating electric field will produce magnetic field. So continuously in space, electricity and magnetism both are producing each other, and they are oscillating, they are propagating, and they are mutually perpendicular to the direction of propagation. So this is the whole concept of the electromagnetic wave. And for that discovery, as Maxwell used the capacitor plates. So as we know, in between the capacitor plates, due to induction phenomena, only displacement current is generated, conduction current is zero inside that. So as we have neglected the concept of displacement current inside the capacitor, that gives us the concept of change in oscillating electric field. So that current is varying with time, and that's why that is producing just magnetic field. So this is now the concept that he has discovered. So as we are revising, that's why I am not going in brief, because here yeah, the question that number of times, as here one thing, The paper of term 2, that is going to be subjective paper. So one by one, as a brief concept in very detail, you have to study here now. So question is a very common question, and number of times in board examination this question has asked near about 4-5 times, and that is the question, can oscillating electric field produce magnetic field, or what was the Maxwell correction? So Maxwell has modified the Ampere's law, and he showed that just magnetic field can not only be produced by steady current, it can be also produced by oscillating current, or the current varying current, that is varying with time. So this was the concept of the Maxwell. So let's see now one by one all the topics of this chapter here. So the first topic of the electromagnetic wave, that chapter is displacement current. So as I was saying, number of times the question that is asked, that was related to displacement current. So what is the displacement current? By the definition you can understand, that is when a capacitor is charged, then that time the electric field is produced, and obviously due to electric field magnetic field is produced, that now I have told you. And now due to the flow of current inside the capacitor, so as outside the capacitor in wires conduction current is flowing, but inside the capacitor due to induction phenomena, due to the presence of the environment inside the capacitor plates, that is displacement current is flowing. So that is now known as displacement current. Simple, the current that is flowing inside the capacitor. And if you have to denote it, how the displacement current is denoted, IT is given by epsilon 0 deva pi E by dt. So it means that this is rate of change of just electric flux. Just like the magnetic flux, rate of change of magnetic flux is producing electric field, just now the rate of change of electric flux is producing magnetic field, because we know whenever the current will flow, that will produce magnetic field inside it. Now next one here, if you will see why we need this concept of the displacement current. Already we had the concept of steady current that was producing magnetic field, but why we need to study the new current, why it is very important, why continuously I am saying this word here, and why this question is important also for your examination. So you will see now the Ampere's circuital law. So let's see as Ampere's circuital law for the conduction current during that the charging of the capacitor, that was found inconsistent. So here if you will see why the Ampere's theorem was inconsistent, reason is that whenever the current is started to vary, then that time Ampere's theorem was not valid. So how can we understand what kind of effect will be generated when current will start to vary? According to him, current is always steady. As we know, current is of two types, direct current and alternating current. So direct current, that's value is steady with time, that is constant with time, but the alternating current, that's value is changing with time, varying with time. So Ampere's concept is valid for the DC current, but that was not valid when we are coming to the concept of AC current. And we know in our daily life we are using alternating current, what we are producing alternating current, we are using generator, a lot of things for that one. So here as we have alternating current, then whether alternating current is producing magnetic field or not, that was not saying by anything by the Ampere's theorem. Ampere's theorem was totally invalid to just say about that. So this is the inconsistency of the Ampere's theorem, and that's why we need a new current that can justify the concept of the presence of alternating current as well as the production of magnetic field by the alternating current. So here now Maxwell has modified the Ampere's circuital law. So if you will see now Ampere's circuital law, that was closed integral BdL, that was equal to mu 0 I. According to the Ampere's, this was only mu 0 I, where I was the steady current, but Maxwell has added the new current in this one, and that is the new current is displacement current. So according to the Maxwell, the Ampere's theorem should be like this. If it is like this now, it is valid for steady current as well as for varying current, because you can see the displacement current, its value is epsilon 0 deva phi by deva t. It means it is representing the alternating whenever there is the presence of DC current, then Ampere's law will be only mu 0 I, but if the presence of alternating current, it will be mu 0 ID. In both situations, it is predicting that a magnetic field will be produced, and now this equation is completed. So this is known as modified Ampere's law. So this was the need to justify the production of magnetic field in each case of the current, whether the current is stationary or steady or that is varying. Now next one, if you will see the Maxwell's equations. So Maxwell's equations are what, if you will see the name of the scientist Maxwell, he has done remarkable job in the electromagnetic wave, because if you will see the nature of the light, because first electromagnetic wave that we were seeing, that was visible light already, that is you can see that one. So visible light, when scientists started to work on that, so the first property or nature of the light was predicted by Newton. So that was, he was saying that is light is possessing particle nature, but he was unable to just show any phenomena by using particle nature or prove any phenomena like reflection of light, refraction of light. But later Huygens proposed a theory that light has wave nature. So that wave nature was very completely, you can say, before that ray nature of light also that was proposed. So that is called geometrical nature of light, and later wave nature of light was proposed. So these two natures were able to just explain reflection, refraction by ray nature, and then later when diffraction of light and interference of light, these effects, polarization of light, that was all detected, then that time again ray nature was failed to just prove that law. So to explain that behavior of light, Huygens proposed wave nature, and that was broadly accepted, because it was able to just explain all the phenomena that were possessed by the light up to that time. So this was the concept, and also later at the same time Maxwell was working on light, and he gave the equations by mathematical laws, and he proved the Huygens concept, or Huygens theoretical concept by mathematical proof. So that's why you can say he established the wave nature of light by mathematical rules, because as mathematicians he used mathematics for that one. So that's why Maxwell is very important while we are discussing electromagnetic wave, and his equation is equally applicable to all kind of electromagnetic wave, like 7 electromagnetic waves we have. Later I will tell you the name of also in electromagnetic spectrum in the same chapter, but here first let's see what is now the Maxwell equations. So Maxwell has given 4 equations. Exactly these equations was not given by Maxwell. These were given by exactly the different scientists who were working in electricity and magnetism. Like the first one, first equation is given by Coulomb's law, Gauss law of electrostatic. So here, like electromagnetism, this branch you can divide in 4 parts. First part for the static, second part for the dynamic. So static part is like electrostatic, magnetostatic, and dynamic part is electrodynamic, magnetodynamic. He has taken 4 equations, 4 very precise equations that can explain all the phenomena of electrostatic and also the phenomena of magnetostatic, like electrodynamic, magnetodynamic, and collectively that is known as Maxwell's equation. So the first law is Gauss law of electrostatic. So you know the Gauss law of electrostatic, that can be now in differential form. I am writing this one. So that is written as del dot E is equal to rho upon epsilon 0. So this is now the Gauss law of electrostatic. As how can we convert, this was briefly I have told you in very detail. I have told you using Stokes law and Green's theorem in the classes. A number of times we have discussed this one. So here I am directly using these equations now here. You can also use integral form of these equations. Like in integral form, if you will write this equation, so as you know, according to Gauss law, it is stating that the closed integral or the electric field over the closed integral, that is equal to, or we can also say it, this is the electric flux. So electric flux over the closed enclosed surface, that is given by the 1 by epsilon 0 times charge enclosed by that surface. So you can also write down in integral form this equation, and whenever this integral form will convert it into differential form, this is obtained this way. So these are the two forms collectively I am writing here. So I think this is now clear. So Maxwell's first equation was now Gauss law of electrostatic. So this was now the Maxwell's first equation. Now let's see what is the Maxwell's second equation now. So Maxwell's second equation, that is again the Gauss law of magnetostatic, because here you can see if you will use Gauss law of electrostatic, then electrostatic phenomena like there we were calculating electric field, potential, that all can be calculated by using this law. So this is very, you can say, base of the electrostatic, and he has taken this as the first equation. So Maxwell first equations are also in very ordered manner. You cannot say Maxwell third equation is here Gauss law of electrostatic. That is not. You have to learn the order also. The first law is going to the electrostatic one by one, like for in our study. First we have started to study for the static phenomena only, when charge was stationary, charge was at rest. So that is for the electrostatic. Later magnet was at rest, then magnetostatic, and then again we have started to discuss the dynamic concept. So that is electrodynamic and magnetodynamic. So let's see the second law, that is Gauss law of magnetostatic. So first in integral form, if I will write, just now we have seen the Gauss law of electrostatic, that is again the closed integral over the magnetic flux over the closed integral, that is always 0. So this is now the Maxwell's second law, and this is in integral form you can write del dot B is equal to 0 here. So this equation, as you know, the meaning of this one, that is said by the Gauss, that is if you will calculate just flux over the closed, magnetic flux over the closed surface, then that will be always 0. Reason is that magnet always contain two opposite poles. So it means if one magnet has north pole, then the other side of the magnet will be south pole. So magnets are always existed in dipole form. They cannot be in monopole form. Whenever monopole will exist, only that time this value you will get. If dipole and the two poles that are of opposite nature, that will be existed, always this enclosed charge concept will be 0. Also in this one, if you have any surface over which two charges are there, q and minus q. So if net charge you will see, that will be 0. So that time also this will become 0 for this kind of dipole system. So similarly that kind of dipole system is applied for the magnet. So this is showing that this equation is showing magnetic monopole does not exist. So this question is also asked in your examination. What is the Maxwell's second equation is predicting, or what is the physical meaning of the Maxwell's second equation? So that is the meaning of second equation is magnetic monopole does not exist. So this is now the second equation. This is Gauss law of magnetostatic. So you can see now the Maxwell's two equations he has taken as it is from two branches of the electromagnetism, that is electrostatic and magnetostatic. The third equation that we have, this is now taken from the electrodynamic concept, or here if you know that Faraday concept, you know that is whenever there will be the change in magnetic flux, there will be the production of electric field. So this concept was the Maxwell's third equation. So according to that concept, if you will write it this form, this is now given by del cross E, this is equal to minus deva B by deva T. So this equation is showing rate of change of magnetic field that will produce the electric field. So whenever there will be the change in flux or change will be the field, then there can be production of the electric field. So this is now the Maxwell's third equation, and if you will write it in integral form, so in integral form it is written as E dot dl, that is now given by minus of d phi d by dt. So again this is the same thing that we have written in two different form. So integral form you can also write in this, in differential form. Both form I have just told you here. I think that is good to study, and that will help you also to just remind for your examination here. Now this law is known as Faraday law electrodynamic. So as these three law you can see he has taken as it is, that was from the three branches. So these are the Maxwell's three equations. Now in the Maxwell's fourth equation he has done some work, and let's see the fourth equation here. Let me rub just it. Now Maxwell's fourth equation was taken for the magnetodynamic. Means here the change in field, electric field that can produce magnetic field, or steady current can produce magnetic field. So for that one he has taken Ampere's law, because using Ampere law you can calculate the magnetic field through the steady current, but later he has seen that Ampere's law is inconsistent for the AC signals for the current that is varying. So he modified his law and modified Ampere's law, I have told you already. So he has taken that as the equation 4, and that is now written as in integral form. First if you will write, that is B dot dl, this is equal to mu 0 I plus id. So this is in integral form. Now in differential form if you will write, this is written as del cross S is equal to mu naught J plus id, you can write of epsilon 0 E. So this is now the here you can write also, or if you want to just remove this factor here, as you know D is equal to mu 0 F, so you can write now here, that will be also B from here. So this is now the fourth equation, Maxwell's fourth equation. So these are now it is known as, first of all, modified Ampere's law. So I think the students for these Maxwell's fourth equation is very clear, and as they here that equations are the base of electromagnetism, because electromagnetism branch that studied the propagation of electromagnetic wave in different media, like if electromagnetic wave is propagating through the free space, that is propagating through the dielectric space, or the any conducting media, or later plasma state. So these all propagation and the behavior of the light in that all stages, as well as along with that one, the Maxwell's equation helps to study for the all phenomena, like you have studied that diffraction, interference, polarization, that all can be just mathematically proved by using Maxwell's equation. So these are the fundamental concept of the your electromagnetism branch. That is very important equations that you should just know, you should remember, you should learn. So just focus on that one. Now these are because very important for your examinations as well as. Now let's see how can we write the Maxwell's equation in different media. So collectively let me write it first. So as here first let's use the differential form of the Maxwell equation for that. The first Maxwell's equation is del cross, sorry, not del cross, del dot E is equal to rho by epsilon 0. The second one is del dot B is equal to 0. The third one is del cross E is equal to minus of deva B by deva T. And the fourth one is del cross H is equal to here mu 0 C plus id, you can write here. So this is now whole of the just equations that we can now write here. The four equations now here one by one, as we have different media in which light is propagating, electromagnetic wave is propagating, like for the free space also you can write. So for one only today let's see for the free space. So suppose light is moving from from the free space, then which kind of equations that will justify their behavior. So here, as you know, in the free space there is no presence of any kind of charges. So it means that this rho, that is charge density, charge per unit volume, that will become 0, as well as this is current density. No current will be present there, it will be also 0 there. So the equation now you can write for the free space, that is the first equation here, let me just rub it. The first equation will become now del dot E is equal to 0 because rho is 0. The second one is del dot B is equal to 0, that is as it is. The third one is del cross E is equal to minus of teba B by teba T, it is also as it is. The fourth one now it will change, del cross H, this will become now mu 0 ID from here. So this is now the four equations that is justifying thus the behavior of here electric or electromagnetic waves in free space. So just let's study the rest of the things of the chapter, as after a long time you are just studying, so that's why I have just told you the basic things here. So let's study from the next class the in brief, in detail, first when the wave will propagate in free space and which kind of behavior it will show. So thank you students for the today.